Have to jump. Welcome to the Fitchburg Cultural Council's monthly meeting. This is Tuesday, September 21st. It is 4:31 p.m. We're going to call this meeting to order. This is a public meeting, and anything that you say here is being recorded, so it's good to keep that in mind. The Fitchburg Cultural Council is part of the Massachusetts Cultural Council. We're put in place by the mayor's office, and we're a group of volunteers. The Mass Cultural Council, the reason that we're in existence is to support the arts and culture in our city and to be as supportive as we possibly can. So thanks for everybody on the council who's here tonight. We really appreciate you guys being here, making sure that you're in attendance so that we can vote on things. I really appreciate all your hard work. And also want to thank everybody for all their hard work last month, because we've had quite a few events and financial things happening. So thanks to everybody for their work. We'd like to welcome our guests. You guys are welcome to speak on any topic that's on the agenda, and we can do so at the beginning or when we get to the agenda item. So we welcome Shara and Liz and Malik and your guest. Nice to have you here. And nice to have you. And if you'd like to speak on any of the topics, we'll invite you to come to the microphone so that we can hear you. Okay? So we're going to start off with our grantee updates and modifications and extensions first. I have a document that everybody on the council has in the pile in front of you, which is from the Thurston Consort. The Thurston Consort said because of the COVID concerns, the Phillips Hall is not available to them. So they're basically asking for approval to broadcast via FATV. So I'd like to get a motion on the table to accept or deny their request for changing their program slightly.
Well, I'd like to move that we accept Noel's request. It's a sensible thing to do. I think, however, we should ask him if he has some money left over, what else he might want to do with it. We're finding that some of our grantees have money left over and ask if there's something else, they suggest something else they want to do with it. And we certainly want to use this money for culture in the community. We don't want it back.
Thank you. So Eileen, you put a motion on the table for us to approve
Yes.
his request?
Yes.
Anyone speaking to the motion?
Need a second?
I'll
second that.
Audrey, anyone speaking to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the motion passes, and Eileen, do you want to talk to Thurston?
I'll go back to Noel and...
Okay, thank you for taking care of that. The second thing that we have is I'm going to actually open up the floor to Eileen because she's been communicating with Ashley.
Oh,
Sorry,
I have
guys.
a grant modification
Can we do
request.
this one first?
Oh, I thought, okay.
Oh,
this is still, sorry.
Yeah. So next we're going to move to the Fitchburg Public Library and Ashley Kenny. She has a request. They have some extra funds remaining. And Eileen, could you fill us in on what she'd like to do with these funds?
She's had two programs on the books since 2020. First of all, the problem was COVID, and the second of all was she works for the library, and the library is a place where many other people have their, do something. So she was fighting for time. And then, on top of that, we have the COVID thing. So she has a lot of money left over. She has over $700 left over, and she wants to use it for two virtual shows. One is called Hikes Through History with Allison O'Leary, and she's going to talk about some of her favorite hikes in the area. She's an Appalachian Mountain Club person. And the other one is The Call of Kilimanjaro by Jeff Belanger. After his brother-in-law Chris died, he decided that he wanted to do more with his life, something he always wanted to do. So he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. And this would be another virtual thing about that. His audience, both of these would be children's programs. And I'd like to propose or move that we accept this proposal, because once again, we really want the money to be used for valuable cultural and entertainment experiences. We really don't want the money back, so I think we should go back to Ashley and say, do it and do a final report and let us know how it turned out.
So we have a motion on the table from Eileen to accept this adjustment to use the remaining funds that they have left over for two virtual events. Could I have a second motion?
I'll second the motion.
Claudia put in a second. Anyone speaking to the motion?
Eileen, do you know if there's money left over for like another like $75 to get a membership at FATV so that it can stream on FATV as well? Or is this is the full amount?
I don't want to make it more difficult than it already is.
If I could add, there's a note in her email saying that if there's funds remaining, that they would explore a children's program.
And she names 2 of them right here.
Right.
So we can make that suggestion.
Yeah, we could make a suggestion, in response to how the council votes. We can make a recommendation if they would like to do that.
Do it on FATV? To contact FATV?
Yes.
Suppose she doesn't know anybody at FATV, and I don't know anybody.
We can make it, we can do
definitely
that.
help her find somebody.
Okay, all right, I'll ask her.
Yep.
Well,
All right.
do you think, though, this program might be a way the library is trying to build up their own membership, and by making it available to everyone, it's not, I want to be aware that they might be using this as a cultivation tool as well, so we want to make it public, but at the same time, just not detract from their ability to support themselves.
So I think making the suggestion works, and then we can leave it to them. So we have a motion on the table from Eileen to accept the change here, and we have a second from Claudia. All in favor?
Aye.
So the motion carries. Eileen, you're going to let them know?
Okay.
Do we have any other grantee modifications or changes?
Yes, I do. I had a grant from 2018, sorry. The Community Bulletin Board, one of the things in the grant I proposed based off a suggestion that there needed to be an art aspect to it. I agreed to allow there to be an art part put on top of the community board, but it is in itself already a cultural project because it's people can put up their flyers and promote all these different events, and we only have $100 left over. So to pay for an artist and supplies to put up some sort of permanent art piece that won't fall over, I'm not really sure is like really that attainable. So I would like to ask for a modification to not require the art aspect.
Can I ask a point of clarification? And
Yes.
will you be returning the $100 back to the Cultural Council
Yes.
as part of that? Okay. Thank you.
Anyone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
A second.
Anyone speaking to the motion?
Would you like me to leave the room?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. You're welcome. Matt, do you have all those details for the minutes?
I think so. So it's returning $100 from a 2018 award.
What year, Audrey?
Yeah, I think it was 2018. I haven't filled my final report yet, so yeah, I will. Once I do that, I will return whatever the remaining amount is.
I
the
really am
exact amount.
having trouble hearing people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the masks make it difficult to hear.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so now I think that's it. We're going to move to the Treasurer and Grantee Coordinator Report. Before I let Eileen take the floor with the numbers, I have a couple of things I want to get approved. We're going to be doing the meet and greet on Friday night, and we've requested a budget from Strong Style so that we can support her remaining open specifically for us to be there. She asked for a budget of $100 to assist with her payroll. So I'd like to put this out to the council and like to get a motion to help Strong Style support her payroll because she's staying open for us specifically. Could I get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve $100 for payroll to Strong Style Coffee.
I'll second that.
So we have a first from Audrey to approve this for Strong Style and a second from Claudia. Anyone speaking to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. The second thing is for Fitchburg Open Studios. I have 2 invoices from a printer for signage. They total $319.09 and $399.68. And I'd also like to get a motion out to make sure that we can get these submitted to City Hall for payment. So that's 2 invoices, $319.09 and $399.68.
I move that we approve the motion that we approve the request.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
If I have an additional printing request,
Is there a second?
I second it.
All right, thanks,
Okay,
Audrey.
Sorry.
if I have an additional printing request, should I state that now, or should I wait until we get to the?
I would need an invoice,
Okay,
and we'll vote on it at the next meeting.
okay.
And we've had a request from City Hall that we keep our vendors limited to a handful of us. So maybe you could pass the invoice, or if the invoice could come directly to the Open Studios, for example, that would be great, so that City Hall is not overwhelmed bookkeeping. So if you could just submit me the invoice for next time.
It hasn't happened yet. That's
Okay.
It's a question.
Okay, yeah, so for any like financial stuff, they've requested that we not add more vendors. They'd like us to go through, for example, Audrey is one of the vendors now, Claudia is actually a vendor now, so they'd like us to go through an existing vendor so they're not constantly creating for us. Just email me the invoice, and if it could go to the council or to the Open Studios directly, it's easier for bookkeeping, so, okay.
Just, can
go
I
ahead, yeah.
ask a question? The funds being used for Fitchburg Open Studios are being taken from the revenues generated from the participants in Open Studios, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not using our administrative funds for
No.
this at all? Great, thank you.
No, we can't actually use administrative funds from the Mass
Local-
Council.
local
We can
funds.
use local funds, yeah.
Yeah.
And we did make about $1,500 on Open Studios, so this money is coming off the top of that.
Thank you.
So that was a motion, I believe, from Eileen to approve these invoices, and from Audrey a second. Anyone else speaking to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. I'll submit them to you, Eileen, so we can get them to City Hall.
Okay, well, everyone has a copy of the treasurer's report for July and August, so you can see a progression. Local funds haven't changed from month to month, same. The 2020 budget has been closed, and one of the things I learned in a meeting with Calvin Brooks and Joan David is that when that happens, all the leftover stuff then moves down to the 2020 budget. So that means that we still haven't used up all the 2020 money. We put it to the end of the year to use up the 2020 money, and best I can see, that's going pretty well. I haven't had anybody come and tell me yet that they didn't think they could make it, but I'm keeping an eye on it. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the 2021 budget, and I didn't make one for everybody because I'm tired of killing trees, but here's the 2021 budget. If you want to move that down, everybody can share it, but you can see that a lot of people still aren't sure whether they're going to have their event or not. Part of the reason here is that many of the people who asked for money in 20 and 2021 and are thinking about asking for money in 2022 don't know where this whole thing is going. I'm going to be contacting everybody that has money and hasn't filed a final report in 2021, and also everybody who has been given a grant in 2021 and really hasn't put together a commitment report for it. But I think we also need to look at extending the 2021 year, maybe for another year. But I wonder what you think about that. I understand, I talked with Veronica at the Massachusetts Cultural Council. She's the person we're supposed to go to with our questions. And she said that many of the other local cultural councils have been extending their year, either through the first half of the coming year, of the coming calendar year, or through the whole year. So I'd like a little discussion on that, I guess. I would like to see us extend it. What does anyone else think?
If it's okay, what I would suggest we do is we make a motion on what we'd like to propose, and we can discuss it, and we can take the motion back or modify the motion and so forth, just so that we can have a point to start with and get through the discussion a little quicker.
Okay, well, I move that we extend the 2021 program year through June 30th, 2022.
Do we have another motion?
Oh, I second it.
I think it's a great idea. Does anybody else have any comments?
I have one comment. I'm looking through this, and some of these I don't remember, the ones that are missing, some of them I don't remember it being approved. So double check to make sure that all the ones that are missing checks are ones that are approved. Some of them might be denied.
Well, where they're perfectly blank, I suspect they weren't approved. I mean, I don't have anything on them having received checks, and I don't have on the other paper, I don't have anything about them. So that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, so it's the completed ones or the ones that are, the final reports are done. I see, okay. Yeah, that's a lot missing.
I think it's great, because, I mean, the point of this money was to get it into the community. And if people have to change the way they do things, they have to change the way they do things. It's not been an easy year. So I think it's a great thing to do.
I'm sorry. I have a terrible time in this place. I can't hear.
You can't hear me? I'm sorry.
No, even you, not as close as you are.
Emma agrees with you.
I agree with you.
Thanks.
So Eileen made a motion. Someone seconded that. I think it was Audrey. Anyone else want to speak to the motion, or would we like to take a vote?
I just want to say, I think that it's entirely appropriate. This is the same thing we did last cycle during the pandemic when it had first started. So I think it's a prudent approach. Thank you, Eileen.
You're welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Eileen, it's approved.
Thank you.
It's great, right? Okay, so I think we can move on to the new members section of our meeting. And maybe we could ask Liz Murphy, could you step up to the podium? We have a letter from Liz Murphy. She's at City Hall. We asked the Mass Cultural Council, could we have someone from City Hall on our council? They said yes, as long as the person's not been voted in. And as everybody in the community knows, we need new members. We could be a much larger board here, and we'd like to be. So we have a letter from Liz dated September 16th, and we have her resume here. She's in the Office of Housing and Development Planning here at the city. And maybe, Liz, would you want to tell us a little bit about your role at the city?
Sure. I work for the Community Development Office and Community Development Planning. We've changed our name a number of times. And I've been working for the city in that department for 15 years. My main role is to oversee the division that manages our community development block grant and home grants. So that is community development and affordable housing funding. So my main role really is focused on grant administration. And I also manage our business loan and business grant programs. And I feel like there's a lot of overlap there, more and more than there used to be with cultural activities and what the Community Development Department is trying to do. So I feel like this is a good fit, and your meetings are very conveniently timed and located. I'm interested in helping where I can to grow the cultural community. I did, at a point in my life, think that I was going to be a working artist, and then I said, oh, I think I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how to make money doing that, so I'll go into like human services instead, which, is where you make all the big bucks. But yeah, so I'd like to support the council where I can, and it seems like a good fit, so if you'll have me, I'd be happy to join.
Well, I think you have a marvelous resume.
Oh, thank you.
In heavy in business, but also you have that arts background and grant writing background and all of that. I don't know. I think we'd be privileged to have you.
Well, thank you.
Agreed. So I'd love to get a motion on the table to approve submitting this letter to the mayor's office.
I second.
Oh, okay, you made the motion.
Who made the
I'll let-
motion? I made. All right, it's my motion.
I've met Liz several times in my professional role, and so I'd be happy to second that motion.
So a second from Matt. Does anyone want to speak to the motion? Have any questions for Liz?
Liz, do you have any interests in like bookkeeping or social media?
Or grant writing?
I've done my share of grant writing. I've done some basic bookkeeping.
No pressure.
Yeah,
No pressure, I'm just, these are skills that we're looking.
I guess I would say grant writing is probably my wheelhouse as far as what I understand the council may need.
So you know how budgets work and things like that.
I do.
And
Mostly.
if you're good with numbers and,
But I do okay with numbers. I don't think I could manage like the city's entire budget.
No.
I'm dying to have somebody help me with
So thank you so much, Liz. If nobody has anything else, let's see. I think we had a motion from Eileen to approve to send this letter, a second from Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
That's approved. Thank you so much, Liz. We're going to forward this direct to the mayor's office.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much.
welcome.
So we have, I think, Malik and Shara here, and I know you guys are interested in the council. Would you like to ask us any questions? And if so, feel free to step up to the mic so we can hear you.
Hi, I'm Shara Osgood. I know most of you. I'm just curious, like, what the expectations are for somebody being on the council. What are you required to do, and how much time is the commitment and all of that kind of stuff?
So we meet once a month for an hour, and those of us that have roles or jobs, we periodically talk and spend more time. And then the big commitment is when the grant cycle completes. We have to book probably 3, possibly 4 nights where we have a 2-hour slot and we go over all the grants.
And that's the end of the year?
And that's the end of the year, like before the holidays, after October 15th, between that and the end of the year. So those are the big commitments, I think. And then everybody else who's in a role like the treasurer or my job or Audrey's job, Matt's the secretary, so those roles require more time on the computer reading and
Right.
keeping up with organizing things. And then Audrey's doing FATV with Casey, and some of us are supporting that effort. So these type things take some other extra time.
I think,
but-
if it's okay.
Yeah, go, Joe.
For me to speak, Shara, I think what would be really good is for you to sit down with one of the members of the council to go over the majority of the details with that. It would take far longer than the length of this meeting to get through it all, but it gives you a good framework about how we operate and what level of commitment that we're looking for and what you're able to give, and you'll be able to decide whether it's something you'd like to come forward with like Liz did tonight.
And do I remember it's a 3-year commitment?
Correct. It's a 3-year term. That's you can be it's an appointment by the mayor. You can be reappointed for a second term before you'd be required to take at least a year off before rejoining the council.
Right, okay.
Yep.
I don't think I have any other questions.
Yay, thank you, Shara.
Thank you, Shara, for your interest.
Malik? Okay. All right. You'll ask us. All right, well, thank you for coming. We hope to see your letters soon so that we can send them off to the mayor like we were going to do with Liz's. We appreciate it. All right, so, huh? Thank you.
Nice.
Anybody else have any suggestions that we should talk about for new members that folks, go ahead, Audrey.
Yeah, so previously, when someone said that they were interested in joining our council, we would say, send us an email, and then usually Joe would be the person to set up that meeting, but I know that Joe's very busy, so I thought that maybe it would be good to create a more formalized structure. If someone's interested in joining our council, maybe we tell them, come to one of our meetings so that we know that they can make our meetings. And then say, talk to one of these 3 people, at the end of the meeting. And then on the spot, they look at their calendars and say, all right, let's meet on whatever so day, whatever time. And I know that Joe has volunteered to train them on the conversations that he has with people. And that way, since Joe's our ex officio, at some point, Joe might not want to stay on with us forever, so we need to pass on that information. So that is a structure that I think would be good. And I don't know what the rest of the council thinks of that, as well as curious on who would volunteer to be one of those people.
So Audrey, if I can I supplement your statement?
Yeah.
Is that, I've been working with Audrey for the past few months and going through these interview type meetings with potential interested members, and I've built a framework for people to follow, what questions to ask, what statements to provide, and information about the council and joining and so forth. And so it kind of makes it easy. You have a template to follow to do a orientation, so to speak, for a potential new member.
Any other comments? I think it's great to have something formal in place. So if someone reaches out from the community, should we have them go to you, Audrey?
Well, I would say if there are 3 volunteers that would be willing to have those conversations with potential new members, in which Joe would train you on all the different things that we have to make sure that we hit so that it's understood. And then say, come to one of our meetings, and at the end, talk to one of these 3 people, and we'll set a date. And
We just want to make a suggestion. I think it should be yourself and myself.
Okay.
And maybe we could take one other person.
Okay.
Because I met with Liz, and I'm happy to meet with people as well, so
I'd like to
Casey?
volunteer to meet with people.
So maybe it's just the 3 of us, Audrey?
and Casey? I know that,
I'd be happy to help with that.
I think it should really be a group effort, but if you want to formalize it, that's fine.
I mean, yeah, I guess however many people who want to volunteer, but I just don't want to make it easy.
Audrey, if we have a quorum of interested members, we can just have a special meeting, and I can go over the whole thing. We would have to make it public because of the quorum issue and open meeting laws, but I'm happy to do that in a public forum.
I think that would be fantastic.
I think
Okay.
that's a great idea.
So maybe for next time, we can come up with a date and do that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
How many members are left on the council? How many seats are available?
We could have 22.
Up to 22, yeah.
22 max? And
We have at least 10 available
right
I
now?
think. 9 or 10.
Just currently 8 right now, or what's here?
There's currently 10 voting members, and Joe is our ex officio. He is not allowed to vote.
And not everyone's here today.
Yeah.
Okay. So what other roles are within, or have you thought about expanding on any other roles within the council?
So, we have the basics. We have a chair and a co-chair. We have a treasurer. We have a secretary. We can have a grant coordinator. We could have a PR subcommittee, which we have. So there's certain roles within the marketing area that we could have more.
Okay.
We're responsible for marketing the events to some extent that we support and give funds to. So there's definitely areas where we could grow. We could also have other events in the communities, like this year we have Fitchburg Open Studios. We could have other subcommittees for other events if we wanted to get that much bigger. We certainly could.
That was going to be my next question. What other events were in the workings after Fitchburg Open Studios?
We had talked about doing one this winter.
Information.
We had talked about doing one this winter, which was my sort of pet project. But I'm aware of other councils that don't do events. And then there's larger councils like in Boston who do big events. So there's a lot of flexibility with the state, what we can do. And this community has a good group of an art scene here, so we could probably do a lot more. We're kind of getting to that place. So This council taking on Fitchburg Open Studios was a big step also.
Yeah, we're definitely in a transition stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We have a creative meet and greet this Friday, and I'm sure, there's been talks about perhaps hosting more creative meet and greets throughout the year. And as for roles, I know roles are for 1 year, and then there's up for a re-election. So Tamara and I are actually up for re-election next October, which might be a little bit jarring in the middle of grant season, but we'll see. And then I know that Eileen is, often looking for someone to to take the place of treasurer. And for PR, help with social media would be enormous.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
In looking at this group, what would you like to do? How would you like to change us? I mean, we're open to
Changes.
What do you think would be good?
I wouldn't necessarily want to change you at all. It's just, I would, I'm always just looking to innovate somehow. Like, how can you improve on it? How can you add to it? Blend with maybe some of the community ideas that might pop up. I don't really have any right now, but I'm sure someone always has a light bulb idea that just sets off something in your head, like, oh, that might actually work for this.
Well, right now, we don't have enough members. I wear at least 2 hats, and we don't have enough members to do everything that we need to do, much less look out further, and what could we be doing more of, So that's what we need in somebody who wants to join our councils. We want doers, people with ideas. That's what I think, anyway. It's my 2 cents.
Yeah. And it's flexible, too. If you're on the council and you're like, hey, we have a need, like, who wants to head it? We can just create that role. It's not.
Okay, yeah, so that was going to be the next thing. So if there is some type of role that you would come in, would you just kind of propose it to the council and you would all decide if it's a good idea or not? And is that the same way for, events and things like that?
Yeah, we could, any festival that we wanted to host, we could potentially, as a council, host it. And we actually could get funding to do it as well. We could, fundraise and bring in money also. So it's, again, about people. I think that's, there's one in Boston, I'm trying to think, I think it's Somerville. They do a lot of events. We're not really big enough to do. We could, but it would tax us because we're all volunteers. So,
what about is there any collaborations that ever get done between cultural councils at all?
Well, I mean, the councils are filled with artists oftentimes. So,
Do you mean between councils from different cities?
Yeah, how they seem to have a lot of events in Somerville or whatnot. Is there any way we can collaborate with them and figure out how they can get us on the same track?
Yes.
That option is available. Yep. Malik, that option's available. We could partner with any local cultural council that will have us. We sort of have we don't have a partnership in an official capacity where we do events together, but we collaborate a lot with the Leominster Cultural Council and some other cultural councils in the area, just to kind of get to know them and what they do, and kind of just share information back and forth. During the time I was chair, I had attended quite a few meetings of both of those cities' cultural councils to collect information about what they do. And if you don't mind, if I may finish my statement, I just want to say that I really admire your interest and energy for wanting to do more with the council. The council, in the 5 years I've been serving on it, has really evolved we've improved our social media presence. We actually have a TV show now, we took on our first project. We've been, as a council, trying to get to the point where we're starting to raise more of our own money to do bigger and better things. So we're not reliant wholly on the Massachusetts legislature and the Mass Cultural Council to define how much we have to spend and how we can spend it. So as a council, the more we can do to raise our own funds, the more flexibility we have to do some really awesome stuff in the city of Fitchburg.
Okay, so that's the next question I'm leading into. What is stopping us from getting more funds? What is something that might prohibit the city from getting more funds?
Quite honestly, it's having enough members to come together and put together a plan and execute it to raise money.
Yeah, it's fundraising, it's time, desk time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even Fitchburg Open Studios, we could have asked more businesses, we could have had a whole outreach. We kind of need time to plan that, prepare that, and then somebody's got to do the outreach. So it's just people, really, and time.
When you mean, can you kind of, I guess I'm can you elaborate a little bit more on the outreach part of things? Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, yeah, so for Fitchburg Open Studios, for example, in previous years, Peter would reach out to Peter Capadagli from the Boulder Art Gallery. He had a list of people he reached out to get funds in the past. So this year, I knew a couple of them, so I reached out to a couple and asked for funding to support this year's event, and 2 organizations gave us money, New View and the Abijah Wyman House, which is in Ashby, Mass. So it basically was up to somebody, some person, to reach out and say, we're doing X, can you give us X? We're doing X, can you give us X? So that's what I meant by outreach. It literally is a physical person has to reach out to, like, the banks, for example. We could have had, a bank sponsor a massive banner to put somewhere, but somebody had to ask. So, and that's just time to,
So just more people to reach out and find resources and different ways of accumulating funds, okay?
Yeah, because it's a volunteer position. So we come together each month, and then we work together when we can, but we're all also have other responsibilities and jobs as well, lives. So there's only so much time and bandwidth that each person has for volunteer work, so.
Yeah, definitely. I understand.
I think there's a plan or potential plan to focus a little bit more on fundraising after the grant season is over, because this is definitely our busy time.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that's it for now. I appreciate all the answers and everything like that, and I look forward to speaking to you more on this.
Yeah, we hope we get your letter soon.
Yeah.
Yes, you will. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Malik.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, I think we'll move to Fitchburg Open Studios and the meet and greet on Friday. If I'll just start with the Open Studios. For Open Studios, Matt has volunteered to host a table at the Blacksmith Festival on Saturday. I was hoping maybe somebody might be interested in being at Activate Mill Street on Saturday. I think we have some people popping up there. I don't know if anyone's available. And it would just be to have the brochures available and a table there near the cafe. And you could do it however. Are you smiling? You too?
Yep. Okay.
And
I'm going to
Casey?
be at the church all day, both days, but if there's anything I can do from there.
Well, as long as you have brochures, that would be amazing, if anybody, as people pass through. So Peter has extras at the Boulder. There's tons, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know how many you were. Stacks, yeah.
Stacks.
Yeah. So he opens Thursday. How many did you get?
A stack.
Oh, enough to spare?
No, I don't have any left.
Okay.
I already dispersed them, but there are stacks
Okay.
at the Boulder.
So if anybody could go by the Boulder Thursday or email Peter or call even tomorrow, there's extras there. So they just need to be put wherever you can think to put them. And then, so Casey and Claudia, could you guys handle a table at Activate Mill Street?
Yes.
Just be there with some brochures and
Do we
tag
have a
team.
table set to go?
No.
Okay,
I have
so-
one if I can loan one if needed.
I can win one too.
Oh my God, you guys are great.
Do we want a table at Upper Common? Okay.
I don't think so. We don't have anyone planning to be there, so I wouldn't suggest that.
Well, I was just thinking because, we got the Boulder Art Gallery, First Parish, Fitchburg Art Museum, so it's like in the middle.
I was going to keep us down that way just because I know there's already people outside. Sunday might be kind of quiet because the Blacksmith Festival won't be on, but yeah, let's stay down there and hope these guys you're going to get traffic anyway. I know you will, so. What else do I want to say about Open Studios? I think that's it. I really appreciate everybody's help, and I hope if you know people who can support and come out, that would be awesome for everybody who's popping up to encourage, if you have an email list and you can just remind people, send the link, I would really appreciate it. I hope it's going to be a good year, I hope.
What's the website address?
It's fitchburgopenstudios.com. It's free. The brochures are at the Boulder. I think Strong Style now.
Yep. Market Baskets in Fitchburg and Leominster, Hannaford's in Leominster.
Profiles on the John Fitch Highway.
Oh, thank you, Claudia. And Mill Street has them, the Chamber of Commerce has them. Okay.
And they're
Very
downloadable
curious.
from the website, too?
Yeah, the website has the map as well.
And is there a map on the website?
On the website, yeah.
Cool. I would like to print out a large map for the...
Yeah, there is one. So thank you guys for all your help on that. I'll be across the street. Audrey will be open. So if you can support, if you're around, I'd appreciate it. And for the meet and greet, Audrey, can you give us a quick update?
Yeah, so I know a few of us volunteered to come a little bit early, just like for setting up. It should be pretty relaxed. But basically, it's going to be at Mill Street now. Strong Style Coffee will be open later for us so that there's drinks available. Casey will be putting together a playlist so that there will be music. I bought a few canvases and paint pens, and I think Reimagine North of Main has some easels I can borrow. I've requested some chairs and tables from them, and what's really cool about the Mill Street space is that with our partnership with Reimagine North of Main, we don't have to apply for permits or anything like that. It's all included. I think that's basically it. It's from 5 to 7 p.m. this Friday. So if you're part of Fitchburg Open Studios, go get set up and then come and hang out with us. But it's for everyone, not just Open Studios participants. It's for all creatives. And Casey and Derek shot a really fun PSA that that people seem to be enjoying.
Oh, when is this meeting? Is this Friday?
It's this coming Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. at Mill Street.
Okay.
Yep. Be there.
One of the things we learned at our input meeting, we have an input meeting with the community every year and ask people what do they really want us to concentrate on? What do they really want us to do? And a lot of the artists said, well, these meet and greets are great ideas. We only used to have, so we're thinking about having maybe 4 of them this year in different places, and to bring the arts and cultural community together. They pick up ideas from one another. They've seen this work so well. They collaborate on projects, and it should be fun. So I hope you all come on Friday night, 5 o'clock at Mill Street.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if you're aware, the Food Truck Festival is happening Friday right across
River
down the
Styx.
street at River Styx and Putnam Place. So if there is signage that could go there to kind of, people can go pick up food and come to the meet and greet, might be a nice way to get a few more people. I don't know if
Yeah.
necessarily get a ton of creative people going to a food truck festival and like capture them that way, but I, it feels like there could be some synergy there.
Yeah. We've requested sandwich boards from Reimagine North Main, so I can put one near River Styx, and one like right at the spot, and like maybe another one like off of Main. Yeah. And yeah, we can say come to the Creative Meet and Greet networking event if you're a creative.
We need signs printed for those, or is it like a chalkboard?
I think it might be that we have to print signs or just get poster board and drop it on it and then tape it on there.
Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.
If
I'm good at designing.
I mean, if I want to print some maps.
This is for Friday?
For,
Friday.
then I can just do that when I get the maps printed also. Do we need? 3? Okay.
Are we good, guys? I'd like to move on.
Yeah.
So that's all right, that's all right. So I hope everybody can make it Friday night, 5 to 7, Activate Mill Street, and then Fitchburg Open Studios is Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 5, and then 12 to 5. And thank you all for your support and your help. Look forward to seeing you guys this weekend. For the winter projects, I just wanted to rehash what I brought up last time, and I wanted to put Claudia on the spot. I'm happy to head this up. I would love your help, Claudia, and I'm just going to be really quick and brief on this. I'd like to do a winter-themed open house, sort of bazaar at City Hall, and I wondered if you would help me.
I'd be happy to help you.
And if I have your support, then I'll make the arrangements and make it happen. Okay. Thank you very much.
I have a question
Need a
about
body.
it.
Yeah.
When, like, what month are we thinking?
December.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I was thinking recently that a holiday bazaar would be really great. I was at an art festival recently, and I was like, I like what you're doing, but I already, like, this would be better for, like, in the holiday so that I can buy this for my friend and give it as a gift.
That's kind of what we were thinking. I was thinking, based on the guest that we had last time who brought it up. So I was going to reach out to her and ask for her help as well. So, and then reviewing past meeting minutes, I need to move this to next time. We had an amendment from last time, and I need to have that in your inboxes in advance of the meeting, so I apologize for that. So I'm going to move up to the FCC TV update. If Audrey or Casey would like to give us an update, tell us how it's going to close the meeting.
I think it's going well.
I think it's going well also. If anyone thinks otherwise, they do let us know.
Yes, please let us know. I had the good fortune of sitting in a DFN taping and saw that they organize things in a much more agreeable way that I think I'm ready to strategize with that. But for next Tuesday for our taping, I want to tape a couple more PSAs before we have our guests on or start the show. So I'm planning on doing that, join our council PSA, and maybe if there's time to do a PSA about how you can learn about events just in general. And also, we still need to record some more openings of Matt and Claudia at work so that we can incorporate that in our opener, our intro, which we still haven't edited together because we need the rest of the crew in there. And then the episode will be focusing on Fitchburg Public Library and the Laurelwood Garden Club.
Excellent. I think you guys are doing a great job. It's pretty awesome.
You're doing a great job. You're in it too.
Well, you guys are the meat and potatoes. Okay, so that wraps it up.
Could I say one thing?
Yes.
There'll be grant training again this week on Thursday. I want to thank Audrey and Casey and Claudia for joining us last week. And we had a good time, but we didn't bring in very many people who were looking for a grant, so I'm hoping to get a lot this time. Anybody who wants to come, it's at 5:30 at Hammond Hall, room G11, and we had a good time last week because the people who did come, we had different kinds of experience, so we all took part in telling people what we knew and walking them through their ideas and how to present them. So if you're thinking about writing a grant, come join us. It's only an hour, and I always bring cookies. So.
They were very good.
I have a question about that for you, Eileen.
Speak up.
I have a question for you, Eileen, about that one. Will that one be streamed or on Zoom as well?
Yes, if that's
It
gonna
will be on Zoom.
I don't think it is it?
What is it, Audrey? Audrey knows.
Yes, it will be on Zoom. If you need the link, check our Facebook event or check our City Hall webpage that has our calendar on there. You just click on that date and you'll get the Zoom link on that. So it's a great place for if you have any questions about the grant application process or you're just need help with troubleshooting and would like to see someone in person about that. But you can also, if you have questions, you can also ask the Mass Cultural Council help desk. And yeah.
But we can't give you cookies on Zoom. I would say
So be there.
I would say that the in-person experience is better. So join us.
It's multidimensional.
All right, guys, it's 5:20. I'd like to take a motion to adjourn. I think we did all the business we need to do for today.
Can I make a last announcement of FCC Funded Events coming up? So tomorrow at 10 a.m., Sensory Friendly Days, Wachusett Meadow Society. Obviously, we mentioned the grant training, creative meet and greet. September 24th through the 26th, as well as October 1st through probably the 3rd or 4th. Those weekends is New Players Theater Guild, their performance of Steel Magnolias. And on Thursday, September 30th, is Tales from the Home's World's Worst Weather at the Fitchburg Public Library. Actually, it's a virtual event, so that'll be on Zoom. And I think those are all the events coming up between now and our next meeting.
Awesome, thank you very much. So now it's 5:21. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
One from Casey, second from Audrey, all in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.